Hello and welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep. Welcome to the big news of the day. Before we begin today's discussion, I would like to remind you to catch episode 93 of International Relations this week, tonight at 8 pm live on our YouTube channel. And also don't forget to subscribe to our Telegram channel for further updates on current affairs. So in today's big news, we are going to talk about G20 Presidency, which is being held by India. Yesterday, there has been a big development related to this topic as Prime Minister Narendra Modi has unveiled the logo, theme and website for India's G20 presidency. So first, let's understand what is G20 and then talk about the logo and theme that India has chosen for its G20 presidency. We shall also talk about the upcoming challenges for India as it leads G20 for the coming year. See, the G20 is essentially an intergovernmental grouping of the top economies of the world, and it functions as a premier forum for international economic cooperation. It brings together 20 major economies, including developed countries, industrialized nations, and as well as developing emerging economies. It was established in the year 1999 following the Asian financial crisis, which resulted after the dot-com bubble burst, which led the finance ministers and central bank governors of key economies to come together to discuss global economic and financial issues in order to promote cooperation amongst the top economies with regard to their monetary and economic policies. So from 1999 till 2008, G20 was a forum where the finance ministers of these countries and the central bank governors would meet every year to discuss key global economic and financial issues. Then came the 2008 financial crisis, which pushed the global economy into a recession, following which the G20 was elevated to the level of head of states and head of government summit, which could bring together the prime ministers and presidents of the members every year to focus on key macroeconomic issues of the world and to coordinate policies between the members in order to stabilize and strengthen the global economic architecture. Over the years, G20 has emerged as the top economic grouping of the world, and it not only looks at macroeconomic issues and global financial stability, but it has also diversified into the areas of trade, climate change, sustainable development, health, agriculture, energy security, environment and climate change, anti-corruption, etc. This group consists of 19 member countries plus European Union, and collectively these members represent 85% of the global GDP, accounting for 75% of the global trade and more than 2/3 of the global population. So this is what makes G20 a significant grouping that brings together the top developed economies, industrialized nations, developing and emerging economies. Every year, one of the member countries gets to host the G20 presidency and lead the G20 negotiations by setting the agenda. And for 2023, India will be hosting the G20 presidency, and as the chair of the G20, it gets to invite a few guest countries as well, along with inviting other international organizations. So here we have provided a list of guest countries and international organizations invited by India to participate with the G20 grouping. So India is all set to take over G20 presidency from Indonesia, and this gives India the opportunity to set the agenda for G20 for the next 1 year, along with hosting key summits that will bring together the finance ministers of the members, the central bank governors, and the respective Sherpas or envoys who represent each country while leading these negotiations at the G20. From India, Amitabh Kant, a top IAS officer and the former CEO of Niti Aayog, has been appointed as India's G20 Sherpa to lead the negotiations, along with India's finance minister and the central bank governor. The grouping also leads regular engagement with other stakeholders such as the civil society, parliamentarians, think tanks, etc. And it's very important to note that G20 does not have a permanent secretariat. The agenda for every year is set not just by the country holding the presidency of G20, but by the troika that includes the current presidency along with the previous and upcoming presidencies. So in the case of India, the troika would comprise of India, Indonesia, the former presidency, and Brazil, the upcoming presidency. So together, these three countries, which would be part of the G20 troika, led by India would set the agenda for G20 for 2023. And it's in this context that India has brought out a logo and a theme, along with launching a dedicated website for G20 Presidency, which would be hosted by India for the next year. You can see the logo that was unveiled by Prime Minister Modi over here that depicts G20 in the vibrant colors of India's national flag, that is saffron, white and green and blue, and also brings in the elements of the earth resting on a lotus, which is the national flower of India. And this not only reflects India's pro-planet approach, but also symbolizes the need for maintaining perfect harmony with our nature. Below the logo, Bharat has been written in Devanagari script, along with the year 2023, and India being mentioned, to highlight the country as the presidency of G20. The logo also mentions Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, drawn from the ancient Sanskrit text of the Maha Upanishad, which symbolizes India's ancient and modern vision of treating the whole earth as one family and to lead global common efforts towards a vibrant future. The overall theme of the presidency and the logo has been designed in such a way to bring the spotlight on life or lifestyle for environment, which has been promoted by Prime Minister Modi as well. It promotes sustainable development, environmental sustainability, and responsible lifestyle choices being made both at the individual level and the national level in order to minimize the impact of development on our environment. So the logo, theme and website unveiled by India reflects these priorities of the country. And for India, it coincides with the Amrit Kal, while India is marking the 75th anniversary of its independence. And this provides a great opportunity for India to lead and provide direction for the global economy, which is facing a lot of turbulence. As the host of the G20, India is all set to take over current chair position from Indonesia from 1st December. And over the next several months, India will be leading several summits and dialogues and engagements, not just between finance ministers, central bank governors and the Sherpas, but also amongst various other stakeholders, which will all culminate with the final summit that will bring the prime ministers and presidents of these member countries together to work out solutions for the key global economic challenges. During the course of G20 presidency, India will be hosting more than 200 meetings across 32 different sectors, and these events will take place across Indian cities, which will also help in highlighting India's cultural heritage as well. So this would clearly be one of the most high-profile diplomatic events that would be hosted by India. And along with the great opportunities that it brings for India, it also presents a number of challenges. India would look to prioritize areas like inclusive, equitable growth, sustainable development, women's empowerment, digital infrastructure, etc., while dealing with the pressing global economic challenges. The biggest roadblock for India would be the internal divide within G20. Over the last few months, G20's credibility has taken a hit due to these internal divides between few developed industrialized nations and also between the developed and developing world. So as India takes over the presidency of G20, it would have the challenge to bring these members together to work out their differences. And if India seeks to bring out successful outcomes under its presidency, then it will have to come out with innovative solutions and to build bridges amongst the members of the G20. The toughest challenge for India would be dealing with the fallout of the COVID-19 pandemic, which has disrupted the economy, along with a major disruption caused by the Russia-Ukraine war. These two events have not just hit the global supply chains, but they've also disrupted food supplies, thereby risking food inflation and raising the threat of global hunger. So this combined hit has already started pushing inflationary tendencies around the world, especially in key markets like US, which has led to tightening of monetary policies by central banks, thereby pushing up interest rates, which is currently posing a very serious challenge for economic growth. So many experts fear the world to be headed towards stagflation, where we not only report high inflation but also stagnating growth. And this would clearly be the biggest challenge for India to overcome as it leads G20 during its presidency term of 2023. So with this, I would like to conclude today's discussion. And if you found the initiative to be helpful, do support us by liking the video, share your comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.